Sierra Streams Institute is one of our groups in the Sierra, and so we have a wonderful presentation.
Thank you, Eric. Good morning, everyone. So Eric has actually been extremely instrumental in working with Sierra Streams Institute, where I'm the education program director, and helping us involve our citizen science programs into the state Water Resource Control Board. So he's been a huge help, and has worked closely with Joanne Hild, our executive director, who was unfortunately supposed to be here today but couldn't make it due to a family emergency. So I'm looking forward to spending the next 12 minutes talking about how we can use citizen science to engage community members in solving environmental problems. I'll give you a little bit of background on Sierra Streams Institute, where I work in our community partnerships. And then I'm going to talk about I'm hopefully going to have time to talk about 4 case studies that Sierra Streams Institute is working on that involve citizen science. So one is involving our monitoring in our local watershed that we've been doing for over 15 years. The next case study is how we use that citizen science data to influence management decisions. We also are expanding our scope a little bit to use citizen science data to work on improving community health. We're located in Nevada City, which is a gold rush mining town, and there's a lot of mining legacy impacts there. Thank you. Lastly, I'll be talking about how citizen science can help us understand global environmental problems. And that example is really close to my heart because I have been working with 100 high school students to take phenology data and contribute to a greater climate change data set. So some background on Sierra Streams Institute is that we were formed in 1996 by a bunch of citizen scientists. We were known as Friends of Deer Creek back then, and we're a smaller organization. We've expanded to become Sierra Streams Institute and have a larger scope now. But the whole purpose of Friends of Deer Creek was to monitor the Deer Creek watershed that runs through Nevada City, which is just an hour east of Sacramento, and understand the impacts of a bridge that was going to be built in town. And that led us to our mission, which is to link science, water, and people, and to focus all of our projects on scientific investigation and methods. So we have several different programs. For a restoration program, do in-stream habitat restoration for salmonids that swim up the Yuba River and spawn in the lower Deer Creek watershed. We also do a bunch of brownfields cleanups and clean up abandoned mines. We have a research program and try to understand the transport of mercury that's spilling over dams, as well as the health impacts of those mining contaminants. We have an education program that I manage and working with kindergarten through 12th grade students, as well as adult learners in the California Naturalist program. We have a training program. We work closely with Eric to lead watershed trainings throughout the state. And something that's unique about our nonprofit is that we have a chemistry and biological laboratory in-house where we're processing our water quality samples, and we're also using citizen science volunteers to identify benthic macroinvertebrates that are collected biannually. So we're located in Nevada County, just an hour east of here, and our main projects are located on Deer Creek, which is a tributary of the Yuba River watershed, and we also have expanded into the Bear River watershed, which is just south of the Yuba. And so the first case study that I'm going to focus on is our monitoring program. And we started out by just monitoring water quality chemistry parameters, but we've expanded into all those different parameters that you can see up there. We look at macroinvertebrates and physical habitat and fish and amphibians and birds and mammals and bacteria. We're really busy, and it's really fun to get to work with these citizen science volunteers, as well as using students to collect this data for us in the Deer Creek and Bear River watershed. It's been super useful for our research program and for management decisions in the community. And one other plug that we wanted to make sure everyone knew about was our bug book that we published a few years ago now, that is a resource for citizen scientists to identify macroinvertebrates to family, and that's the resource we use in our benthic macroinvertebrate identification lab. And it was written and created by citizen scientists. The next case study that I want to talk about is how this data can influence management decisions. And so Deer Creek, that flows through Nevada City, has a lake on it called Lake Wildwood. And below the dam of this reservoir, there's a wastewater treatment plant. And in 2007, there was a government mandate to update and upgrade that facility. And so we used that as a great experiment to understand what impacts the wastewater treatment plant upgrade would have on the downstream benthic macroinvertebrate communities. So we had already been collecting 9 years of data and have had a lot of information on the benthic macroinvertebrate communities below the wastewater treatment plant. We wanted to see if those communities changed after the upgrade. The main purpose of the upgrade was to lower the nitrate levels that were getting put into Deer Creek after the wastewater treatment plant treated its water. And so we found that of the 3 sites that are below the Lake Wildwood wastewater treatment plant, 2 of them showed higher index of biotic integrity scores. Site 8 and 10 both had higher index of biotic integrity scores. And to dive a little bit deeper into that, we did an indicator species analysis and found that the most predominant benthic macroinvertebrate that was occurring in those 3 sites were coleopterans with a tolerance value of 5. And after the upgrade, there was mainly dipterans, specifically crane flies, with a tolerance value of 3. And so we were really excited to see that this partnership that we have with Lake Wildwood and their interest in working with us led to an understanding that their upgrade actually improved water quality and habitat for these benthic macroinvertebrates. So the third case study is about improving community health. Like I said, Nevada City is an old gold rush mining town, and this is an example or a picture of what Nevada City looked like. And that's a picture of Providence Mine with Deer Creek running right through it and Champion Mine on the left. But those weren't the only 2 mines in the area. All those red dots are abandoned mines in Gold Rush, in this part of the Gold Rush area in California. But they're not forgotten. We have signs all over the county of where these mines used to be, and that's a huge piling of mine tailings just right next to Deer Creek. So the community approached us and wanted to understand the impacts of these mining contaminants on community health. And we decided to partner with the Cancer Prevention Institute of California and used funding from the California Breast Cancer Research Program to understand the body burden that women were accumulating, specifically in relation to cadmium and arsenic, and how that was potentially affecting how they were accumulating cadmium and arsenic in their bodies. And so we found that mainly the population of women older than 21 who had lived in gold country for over 10 years showed a significantly higher body burden relative for cadmium. There wasn't a significant result with arsenic. And cadmium stays in your body longer than arsenic does. And so that was our first study, and it was relatively small. We had 60 participants, and we want to expand that study to determine if local women who have breast cancer have a higher cadmium body burden. And instead of just testing urine, we're actually going to plan on testing environmental contaminants like dust inside the house, soil outside people's houses, and their tap water as well. We've also been approached by preschools because parents and teachers are concerned about the level of mining contaminants in soil that these young children are playing in, and we're going to start a study there as well. Lastly, the example that I've had the most involvement with is using phenology data to understand climate change impacts. And phenology is the study of when things appear in nature, and specifically we were looking at plant communities and collecting data with Nature's Notebook that's part of the U.S. National Phenology Network. And those are some quotes from our students that participated in this semester-long study. So this project was made possible through the American Society of Plant Biologists, and like I said earlier, we partnered with 100 high school students at 2 different high schools and collected phenology data for 8 weeks. We looked at different phenophases, like when leaves break, when the plants are flowering, when they're fruiting. And the students got experience not only collecting the data, but also manipulating the data using this database. And this is an example of their calendar feature that shows when, it's really hard to read, but when the different phenophases are appearing over the calendar year. It was an extremely valuable experience working with these high school students, and they really got a greater appreciation for understanding how they could have an impact on making a difference for understanding climate change impacts. And so I think this whole room understands why citizen science is important, but I just wanted to end the presentation with some statements that citizen science allows the public to have wider perspective about environmental issues. It increases awareness. It's something I feel really passionate about, is that it creates more informed citizens that can help create better policy decisions. And overall, it's just a huge benefit to have that public participation. And so that's our contact information. My name's Kelly, and so you can feel free to email me anytime, or Joanne. She'll be here for the rest of the conference. Okay, great. It sounds like we have a little bit of time for questions. Yeah?
How many people do you have on staff?
We have 12 people on staff, including 3 AmeriCorps members. I actually started as an AmeriCorps member in 2010. Yeah?
When working with high school students, do you think you guys are going to expand to lower grades to try to introduce younger children to science?
Yeah, absolutely. So I currently work with kindergarten through 12th grade students, and one example of the citizen science we do is with high school students with the phenology data, but we actually have a middle school program where they're collecting water quality and benthic macroinvertebrate and physical habitat data. And so the physical habitat data is really great for 6th graders who are learning about earth sciences. The benthic macroinvertebrate data is really great for 7th grade with life sciences, and then water quality is great for physical science with 8th grade. We do have challenges with the validity of the data, and we're working with David Herbst's rapid bioassessment protocol for trying to identify benthic macroinvertebrates in the field with the 7th graders, and are comparing our swamp data that with our data that we're actually bringing back to the lab and identifying, and then the rapid bioassessment data that we're identifying in the field and trying to see if they're comparable. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, right on the nose.